Season's greetings, dear listener. AmPam Productions would like to present Finding Molly. Written by Mitchell Drury and Matthew Matson. Artwork by Robert Gift and Albert Sosby. Featuring performances by Mitchell Drury, Courtney Drury, Robert Gift, Jocelyn Reese, and Albert Sosby. I, Matthew Matson, will be your narrator for the evening. This presentation has been made possible in part by our friends at MacLeod. And now, Finding Molly.
With calloused thumb and breath of fog, his carving is cleared of dust. Only now noticing the biting cold, his thoughts wander as he looks to the clock. Nearly 2 decades have passed with this morning routine. Wake up, step over his hound, once so full of life, now drooping as he himself does. A fresh pod of Maxwell's house, leaving earthy floral scents lingering throughout the small home. Then down his weathered steps, skipping the void left from the missing plank.
Really need to fix that.
Past his garden, once beholden of a manicured lawn, luscious bushes and vibrant colors, now an unruly sight of yellowed grass and bare branches. Into his patchwork shed with walls lined with saws and chisels, wear shown on the steel and wood alike, echoing projects of their past. His reflections are short-lived, the clock's alarm alerting him that he'd need to leave if he were to be on time. Glancing from yard to yard as he walked down these familiar streets, he saw many items of interest, but most of all, it was the trash that often caught a lingering eye. He would not dig through others' trash, for he spent a third of his day already doing so. However, many a time he had come upon such treasures discarded by the uninitiated, lying there like gold nuggets upon so much junk. As always, he arrived at work with 10 minutes to spare. Looking out over the polished red nose of his rig, he pulled out of Sterling Sanitation Services, falling into familiar rumblings on familiar roads. The same thoughts, always just below the surface. What treasures could he find today? The first stop of the day answered his internal query. Pulling trash bins to the back of his truck, he began dumping. A faded, broken toy soldier bounced off the lip of the hopper, rattling against the ground. He stooped over, gently taking the toy into his hands.
You'll do nicely. A bit of paint and polish, and you'll be good as new, soldier.
His thoughts were interrupted as the new hire came around the back of his truck. His smile widened as he held the broken toy out to him.
It's junk.
Well, no. It's an excellent find to fix up for the kids. A little work, time, and knowledge, and you can do amazing things with what people throw away.
With a mix of confusion and disgust, the new hire silently turned away. Still standing there, Nicolas heard the passenger door open and shut. He quickly finished his current bins, placing them neatly against their curb. He stuffed the toy soldier into his overalls, climbing the step into the driver's seat of his rig. Any attempt to further enlighten the boy fell on deaf ears. They continued on in silence. Second stop, third stop. The fourth stop continued the blur of familiarity. Packed lots, cars parked in driveways, some on the street. Nicolas expertly weaving his way in and out of the parked cars, as close to the bins as he could manage.
Well, I've never had to train anyone before. He's a bit of a quiet one. Although, that silence has thickened since I grabbed that toy. We'll see if things change tomorrow.
A large moving truck broke the monotony. A young mother and daughter moved from car to truck to front door and all over again.
Well, They should brighten up this neighborhood.
The next house stood in quiet contrast, empty as it ever was in the long years he had run this route. The only hint of life he had ever seen he couldn't explain, always on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. He would glance something out of the corner of his eye, never catching its true shape. A lit fir in the window, a wreath hanging on the door, but when he would turn to look straight on, nothing but an empty house. He had never figured out if it was his imagination or perhaps the reflections of decorations adorning the neighbors' homes. He drove past that house with equal parts wonderment and suspicion. A warm smile lifted his features, seeing 2 new bins put out on the curb today. A sharp whistle accompanied his stop. The rig creaked, metal against metal, as he and the new hire stepped out of his rig. Offhandedly, he looked to the side of the truck with 3 S's emblazoned in white across the deep green hopper. He lost himself in remembering when Buck had started this company. The scrape of metal stopped as Nicolas looked to see a little girl sitting behind a lemonade stand at the end of this driveway. A white tablecloth, laden with white Dixie cups and pitcher, lay across a small wooden table. In the heat of the day, small rivulets of perspiration ran down the large glass pitcher, hoarding its golden refreshment for those that happened past. "Lemonade, 25 cents. Beckoned to the thirsty across the cloth skirt hanging over the front edge of the table. 2 wooden folding chairs stood behind. One held a little girl, blonde plaits hung behind her shoulders. The other, a wild-haired doll, clad in a ratty, dirty dress, wooden arms wrapped tightly around the girl's glass piggy bank. The girl glanced up from her play with the doll to see Nicolas.
You look thirsty, sir. Would you like some lemonade?
Oh, why, yes, please.
Nicolas slid his bins towards the new hire.
One moment. Do you want some, Bobby?
No.
Well, suit yourself.
Nicolas opens his passenger door and leans in. It takes him no time at all to find a quarter within his tidy truck. He clicks the door shut, turning back to the girl and her stand.
That's 25 cents, right?
Yeah.
He starts to place the quarter on the table when the girl grabs her piggy bank and doll, holding them toward him.
He likes to help.
His fingers struggled to hold still as he placed the quarter into her piggy bank. She put her piggy bank and doll back into their seat. She grasped the oversized pitcher, one hand around the handle, the other just under the swell of glass forming its base. She hunched one shoulder, pursing her lips as she slowly lifted it to pour. Her hand slipped from the condensation, slightly jerking the pitcher as she poured, spilling the liquid out of the cup. A pool of yellow creeped across the front, dripping onto the concrete below. Nicolas reached to help, the girl stopping him with a tut. She carefully set it down, handing the overfilled cup to Nicolas. Her smile brightens, her little fingers pointing to his name tag.
Mister!
It's Nicolas.
Thank you, Mr. Nicholas.
Well, you are quite welcome, Miss.
Mary!
May I ask, Mary, what's the little girl selling lemonade for?
My dolly Molly for princess dresses.
Molly, is it? What a beautiful name. Did you name her?
Yes, thank you.
Well, I imagine Molly is very appreciative. Is that why she's out here helping you?
Yes. My mommy says it will teach her responsibilities.
Smart lady, your mother.
Thank you, sir.
Look at that! Hardly 5 minutes and you've already got a customer.
You have a smart daughter, ma'am.
He gave her a warm smile, crumpling the paper cup after finishing the rest of his lemonade. He tipped his hat to Lillian and left Mary with a wink, walking back around to the driver's side.
Thank you for the lemonade, Mary. It was good to meet you both.
You're welcome, Mr. Nicholas.
And so it happened that Mary was at her stand without fail whenever Nicholas showed for his route. On the days he didn't have Bobby with him, he stopped to say hello and talk with her and her mother. They would share stories about how their weeks were going. Mary would allow him free cakes and lemonade. In turn, Nicholas would always drop a few extra quarters. The sun was beating down today, and Nicholas looked forward to a cool cup of lemonade, made all the better by a child's laughter. He moved his rig down her street with a smile on his face. He came upon a bouncing Mary when he stepped from his truck that day.
Nicholas, look at Molly!
Wow, a beautiful new dress for the lovely Molly. Did you pick it out?
Mommy helped. I picked this one because of the lace frillies on the back. And it's blue!
What an excellent color for a princess.
Thank you, Mr. Nicholas. Mama made some carrot cakes, just like you like. Have one!
Shucks, you ladies are spoiling me. I haven't had cakes this good since Carol used to make them.
Who's Carol, Mr. Nicholas?
She was my wife. My better half, really. Bless that woman for dealing with me.
Will I get to meet her too?
Maybe, dear, maybe. Thank you, Mary. I'll see you next week.
With a heavy heart, he rounded the back of his truck with a tear in his eye. He dearly missed Carol, but didn't have the heart to tell Mary no. He laid his hand on the side rail, pulling himself into his cab, briefly stopping to look up into the clouds. He took a bite from Lily Ann's cake.
You would have loved these girls, Carol. They can't beat your carrot cakes. They give you a run for your money.
He gestured toward Mary with the half-eaten cake, smiling for two.
Tell your mother, these are wonderful.
We hope you're enjoying Finding Molly. We'll continue the story after a message from our friends at Matt++. That smells heavenly, darling.
Thank you, dear. Oh, could you put the star up on the tree?
Yes, of course. Let me just grab that step stool. All right. Now to put up that star. Oh, you're a rickety thing, aren't you? Almost got ya. There. Ah!
Oh, are you okay, dear?
The holidays can be a joyous time of year, but behind every festivity can lie hidden hazards. An overloaded electrical outlet, lights and cords lying in walkways. The whole house can hold potential dangers. So why not set your worries to rest with a Matt++ coverage plan? With a plan through Matt++, you'll be guaranteed coverage for falls, spills, breaks, accidents, fires, floods, tornadoes, blizzards, rain, snow, hail, smoke, in-laws, disasters, break-ins, robberies, kidnapping, terrorism, existential crises, alien invasions, zombie apocalypses, and demonic bear possessions. Matt++ does not offer coverage for insect infestations, specifically insect infestations of monarch butterflies, between the months of September and October. Now back to Finding Molly.
Punching in for the morning, chatter fills Nicholas's ears. Charlie is finally getting married. He'll be leaving his bachelor days behind him. They tuck themselves into a corner, congratulating him with warm laughter and jabs about the old ball and chain, and there's another one lost. Nicholas laments that he won't be in his truck this morning.
Great. A weekly meeting. About as useful as Bobby. He'll fit right in. At least there's donuts and coffee.
With all of his colleagues huddled around a spread of donuts and fruit, the break room looked like a sardine can ready to burst. Nicholas noticed the donut boxes were barren, with the fruit having been pushed to the side as he grabbed himself a maple bar and hunkered down against a wall out of the way. John Sterling Sr., his son close at his side, stood confidently at the front of the room. His smile grew across his weathered features as the room settled. He was the only other in all of the company that could hold his age to that of Nicholas's. His graying hair, neatly combed to the left, cropped close at the sides, sat atop a warm, round face. John had always carried a warmth with him, making it a point to get to know people, especially his employees at an individual level. His son, on the other hand, a complete contrast. He was a spitting image of his father when he was younger, features not yet softened by age, hair still a dark chestnut. He stood tall as his father. He must be 30 now. Though he lacked his presence, Junior was always distracted, nose in his papers, checking notes, numbers, the bottom line. His habit of constantly leaning in to whisper to his father about this and that gave him a cold demeanor, calculated and hard to read. He started working for his father just out of high school. Must be a dozen years now.
Good morning, gentlemen. I see you're enjoying the donuts. Today, I'd like to talk about legacy. Passing on. Handing over. Son, when I look at you, I feel pride. I remember one Christmas, you wanted a toy soldier to play with. You said you wanted one dressed just like your daddy, in his uniform. I remember how happy you were to see that toy, and how proud I was of you. That day, I saw me and you and everything that could be. Today, I pass down this business to you. You've been hardworking, and have shown me you have a vision for Sterling sanitation. I'm proud of you, son. You run the show now. The floor is yours.
Buck Sterling stepped back, sitting against the edge of a table, legs extended out in front of him, ankles crossed. Applause filled the quiet air for a few moments, dying down as Junior stepped forward, papers in hand.
Well, thank you, Pop. I want you all to know that I plan to keep this ship running as tightly as my father did. I have plans for our growth as a company as well, though I'm sure you don't want to hear the bore of numbers and projections. I do remember the toy soldier, but those were younger days, and I don't play with toys anymore. Though I do think fondly on it. It helped me through many days while you were deployed. It follows us into the future, cradled in soft hands and warm memories. Your legacy is in good hands, Father. Thank you.
The room filled with soft, heartfelt applause and congratulations. Junior reached his hand out. His father grasped it, pulling him into a hug. Bittersweet feelings creeped through Nicholas's thoughts, landing firmly upon passing on a legacy. The stillness of the morning dew and crisp air greeted Nicholas on this quiet July 4th. It seemed his little town was sleeping in today. Empty streets and full bins scattered themselves throughout his path. He had run a different route this morning, offboarding Bobby into his new route for the rest of the day. After his lunch, he was back to his familiarity. He came upon his favorite familiarity of this street a few hours in, Mary and her wooden stand. Everything stood as it always did, Mary and Molly on the chairs behind her stand, with pitcher and cups ready for the day, though reds, whites, and blues hung from the edge of her table this day. And today the pitcher held a pink liquid, its fruitiness tantalizing just within its glass confines. The pitch of his brakes split the quietness in the air. Mary was already pouring as he walked around the end of his rig.
Well, good afternoon, Miss Mary. What do you have for sale today?
Good afternoon, Mr. Nicholas. It's pink lemonade. It's my favorite. There you go.
The ice-cold drink flowed out of the cup, the perfect remedy to a hot July afternoon.
Ah, thank you, Mary.
You're welcome, Mr. Nicholas. Are you lighting fireworks tonight?
Well, no. I'm too old to light fireworks these days. I'll just be heading home. Are you going to be lighting fireworks tonight?
Yes! We have ones that whistle and sparklers. Those are my favorite.
They were mine too when I was a little boy. You and Molly enjoy those fireworks.
Thank you. We will.
Walking around the front of his truck, Nicholas began to climb into his cab. His shoulders hunched, his chin tucked into his chest as the piercing scream of a red devil lit the air. His head snapped to the side at the crack splitting the afternoon calm. He stepped back as his body flinched, almost jerking him to the ground. His weakened fingers slipped from the truck rail, causing him to stumble off the step of his truck. He caught himself, steadying his breathing. He looked around. He saw no one.
Wait, that's smoke in the yard?
His breath quickened as he moved closer to the empty house's fence.
Were those flashes in the windows? No, it must be kids showing off for their friends. What big heroes braving an empty property.
Taking a few steps forward,
Get out of there, you rascals. There ain't anything there now.
silence once again fell like a veil over the neighborhood. He slowly walked backward around his cab, keeping his eye on the yard and street. In the newfound silence, he could hear his heartbeat as if it were in his ears. Every tiny squeak of the bench seat springs or creak of a lever being pulled, the click of the door closing, his own breath. The sounds buffeted his senses, overwhelming his small cab. He closed his eyes, leading his mind to thoughts of his Carol and Molly, to the meager coping skills given to him at his discharge. His breathing began to slow. The world around him began to quiet. A long silence punctuated the beginning of the rest of his route, still hanging heavy in the air as he pulled his truck into the lot and began his dreaded journey home. That night, Nicholas didn't whittle wood. He didn't fix any toys. He didn't daydream of what he might do next. He sat solemnly at his dining table. The cold cylinders of 3 shot glasses stood beside a bottle of whiskey. This particular bottle of whiskey had been with him over the last few 4th of Julys. He poured the amber liquid into each shot glass, a reverent pause accompanying each. He raised one of the glasses as a toast.
Happy Independence Day, fellas.
Nicholas stared into the glass, slowly swirling the liquor. The amber swirl mirrored the turmoil of his mind, reflecting muzzle flash as the light from the fireworks peeked under his drawn curtains, not drawn tight enough. The sound of the swish resounding explosions as the bang of fireworks going off on his street permeated through his walls. After a moment, he pinched his features together, shaking his head. He pulled himself back into his warm kitchen, candlelight reflecting from the polished table. He relieved the glass of its treasures, draining it in one swallow. With a heavy sigh, he gently placed the glass down, using the back of his overall sleeve to wipe the dribble away. Yes, this bottle had lasted him a few years. Tonight, it would give itself to a good cause. Nicholas bent to scratch his hound buddy's ears, then stood to turn the radio to a classical station, just loud enough to muffle the provocations of the night. He grabbed his blanket off the end of his bed, carrying it back to the table with him. He slumped, the weight of the past pulling him down, bringing the bottle to his lips to finish what he'd started. 2 glasses stood stalwart, vigilant. An oddly cold, drizzly day marked the end of July. Skies that had been clear and bright were now mantled with dense gray clouds. Bursts of rain would come and go, making it hard to determine when a jacket was needed. Nicholas sat in his cab, damp but warm, trundling down his familiar streets. Weather like this might have one feeling down, but not Nicholas. Today was his daughter Molly's birthday, and in honor of his sweet Molly, he had found a dress for Mary's doll.
Don't expect her to be out on a day like this. I'd have to take it to her door.
As he expected, Mary was indeed bundled up warmly inside. Lillian answered him at the door.
Hello, Nicholas. Is there something wrong?
Well, no, ma'am. I know Mary's been saving up for dresses for Molly. Today happens to be my daughter's birthday. I thought it would be a nice gift for Mary.
Lillian gave him an odd look at the mention of buying a gift for her daughter when it was his daughter's birthday.
You see, I lost my daughter years back. She would love this dress. In her memory, I'd like to give it to Mary.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Nicholas. Mary will love this too, I'm sure.
Mary, we have a surprise visitor.
Nicholas!
Well, hey there, Pipsqueak.
I'm sorry, there's no lemonade today.
Well, that's all right. You don't want to be soaked. You're sure as hell to be out here. Besides, I've come to give you this.
Mary pulled the packaging paper from around the gift, tearing here and there until a deep blue peeked through. With renewed fervor, she ripped until she pulled out a Molly-sized azure princess's dress, complete with black lace cuffing, the sleeves, and the neckline. Mary slams into Nicholas, hugging his leg, throwing him off guard for a moment. Regaining himself, he warmly presses his palm against her shoulder.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nicholas. It's beautiful.
You're very welcome, Mary. I've got to run now. Show it to me next week, right?
Of course.
As promised, Mary had Molly sitting in her brand new dress when Nicholas ran his route next. There she sat, in her chair, no longer weighed down by the duty of guarding the piggy bank. She was a regal sight to be had. Mary had even brushed the knots from her hair and braided them to match her own.
Wow, she looks beautiful, Mary.
Thank you. I'm gonna dress just like her for Halloween.
For Halloween? Will you turn this neighborhood into your kingdom on the spookiest night of the year?
Yes, and you can be my knight, Sir Nicholas.
And a dutiful knight I shall be. Managing a princess with such vigor requires a lot of energy. I might need 2 cakes today.
You can take 3, and we'll keep it a secret, right, Molly?
Mary answered for Molly in a high, squeaky voice. Yes! Nicholas and Mary's laughter filled the morning air. Nicholas grabs the 3 cakes, tipping his hat with a wink to Mary, and walks back to his truck. Nicholas's life had become full of irregularities this year. He finished cleaning the cab of his truck, locking it up, and heading into the main building to punch out. As he reached the time clock, he saw Buck Jr.
Nicholas, when you're finished, please come to my office.
Yes, sir? That's odd. Management usually leaves me to my own devices. Well, maybe Junior really is trying to fill his father's shoes. Meet all of his employees face to face.
He walked through the tight hall, lined with thin wood panel facades accented by white drop ceiling tiles. The floor, once a thin gray carpet, had worn down to the wooden subfloor below from decades of traffic to and from the boss's office. He himself had been in and out with friendly conversations or company business. He lightly knocked against the open office door.
You wanted to see me, sir?
Yes, I did. It has come to my attention that you have been taking garbage out of customers' bins while on your routes. Is this information correct, Nicholas?
Well, I'm not stealing trash. That's what you're asking.
Well, some of your coworkers have informed me that you, on occasion, take broken items from the bins. Is this true?
Well, yes, sir.
As much as it needs to stop, I'd like to know what you're taking from the bins, and why.
Well, I take broken toys. I fix them. I give them to kids who could use them.
I see. Well, going forward, you cannot do that.
Well, why not? They're being discarded. They go to kids who could use them. Who does it hurt?
We do not need you wasting time rummaging through customers' bins looking for toys to save. I know I wouldn't want to see you digging through my trash, stealing my son's broken toys. Our customers are likely to feel the same.
Stealing? Rummaging? That is not what I'm doing. I just take what I come across. I have never heard any complaints from anyone on my routes, nor any of the guys.
No more, or you will be fired. Understood?
Yes, sir. May I be dismissed?
You may.
Nicholas wondered who had complained. He had one idea of who it could be. He'd have to be more careful. Finding, fixing, and giving toys had become part of him. He couldn't just sit by while good toys went to waste when he could breathe a second life into them.
Why can't I fix these toys? No one complains, and it goes to kids without. Well, this is certainly an order I'm of no mind to follow.
Nicholas took his ride up on the chin and let it roll off. He kept a keen eye locked on any treasures he might still find on his routes. As he continued his habitual searching and fixing, he acted in a careful manner when on a route with Bobby. Occasionally, Junior would still have him ride along with Nicholas. Today was not one of those days. Today was a day of tricks and treats, ghosts and ghouls. The sharp whistle of his brakes resounded through the warm autumn air as he saw Mary trotting across her shaggy lawn. Mary proffered Molly up to Nicholas, flipping her golden braids from side to side.
Mr. Nicholas!
Oh, hello, Mary. Have you found your costume for the night?
Mama made me one. It matches the princess dress you got from Molly. And look! Our hair ribbons match too! Come see it tonight, please!
Mary pinched her blue ribbons, holding them side by side to Molly's. Lillian walked up behind her, pulling her blonde plaits behind her shoulders, resting her hands gently upon them. Warmth split her soft features.
Will we be seeing you this evening, Nicholas?
Yes. I'll make sure to bring my favorite candy.
Nicholas walked along the edge of Mary's lawn, a worn paper sack tucked under his arm, up to her porch. He lightly rapped his knuckles against the scuffed blue door. The door swung open before he could pull his hand away. In the opening, a warm yellow light slipping around her form, stood the most beautiful princess he had ever seen. Lillian had tailored a shimmering blue dress to hang to just above Mary's ankles. Black lace, matching that of her dolls, cuffed the collar and puffed sleeves. Her yellow hair, usually biplaited, sat piled atop her head, centered inside a glittering silver crown.
Wow. Molly? He looks just like Molly.
No, silly. But Mama did real good, huh?
Your Highness, you look lovely in your royal gown.
Mary smiled shyly, giggling into her mother's hip. Nicholas tossed the candy sack in the air. With a flourish, he catches it, holding it out to Mary.
Shall we?
While Nicholas and Mary are out trick-or-treating, enjoy a message from our frightful friend.
On the days when you're feeling down in the dumps, you need a special friend to turn that frown upside down. You don't have to spend a pretty penny, and you don't have to look too far. Your one-of-a-kind friend is closer than you think.
I have been summoned!
Say hello
upon your dreams and revel in your nightmares.
You do that for me?
I own your soul!
Because of its plush fur and its energetic personality, it's no wonder why scare bears are flying off the shelves.
We will take to the streets one by one! Soon, the world will belong to the scare bear!
Scare bears, when taking a breath doesn't get the job done, there's a scare bear to make it fun.
And back to Nicholas and Mary.
Thank you for allowing me the honor of accompanying you across your sugar-laden kingdom, Princess Mary.
Any time, Sir Nicholas.
Yes, thank you, Sir Nicholas.
Mary begins her curtsy, just as Nicholas had taught her, her mother joining in with warm laughter. They watched as Nicholas turned, and with the mischievous spirit afforded only to Halloween, and a proper jack-o'-lantern grin plastered across his face, Nicholas twirled and skipped across Mary's chalk hopscotch lines. 1 foot first, then 2, spin to 1, then 2. A faint glow caught his eye from the darkened stoop next door. His body stilled and straightened through the laughter. He craned his neck to see the glow again.
Have you got new neighbors?
No, maybe it's a trick instead of a treat.
That house has always been strange. Just not year-round.
Well, you'll be the first to know if we find Casper. You may have to add Ghost Hunter to your resume, right next to Knighthood. It's getting late, Mary. Say goodnight and head inside.
Good night, Sir Nicholas.
Good night, Sir Nicholas. Thank you for a wonderful Halloween evening.
She turned to head inside with a chuckle as Nicholas murmured a goodbye. He barely heard it leave his lips through his distracted gaze looking next door. He fell into his thoughts, running with wild conspiracies and semi-logical reasonings.
No more glow. No light at all. Maybe it was just the sugar, or the spirit of the night. I've never seen this much activity. Leanne thinks she's funny, but who knows what's going on with this house? Maybe Casper, maybe kids, maybe not.
His contemplations ran short as Mary's porch light switched off, throwing both yards into a shadowy blur of grays and blacks. He carefully picked his way through the grass toward the streetlights. The sodium bulbs threw their yellow light cascading across cars and streets alike. The absence of color and almost unnatural quietness of the night lulled Nicholas back into his curious ruminations. He found himself at his own door before he knew where he was. He opened and shut his door with a happiness he had nearly believed gone.
Thanksgiving's nearly here. My favorite holiday was Sterling Sanitation. We get turkey and bonuses.
Nicholas was surprised to see Buck Sterling Sr. himself, handing turkeys out of the back of his truck. He stood at the tailgate, pulling turkeys off what looked like a truck bed full of ice. Ice fell to the asphalt with every pull. Buck's laughter and booming voice accompanied every handoff, creating a warm environment to combat the chilling of the weather.
Nicholas, I figured I'd hand out one last year's worth of turkeys before my retirement becomes official.
It's gonna be a sad state of things, missing you at next year's handout. Will you be moving out of town?
No, but the missus wants to travel for a while. I give it half a year before the road tires her out and she wants to come back to our tiny town.
Well, you two deserve it. You've kept this company afloat, where any other may have just drowned.
Yes, those beginning days were rough. What about you? You've been here with me from the beginning. Without you, my ground support would be shot to hell. Reminds me of a few close calls back in the war. When do you plan to leave? To enjoy the retired life?
Well, I enjoy my life as it is, sir. Hopefully the change is smooth. I'm sad to see you go, but I have faith Junior will follow in your footsteps. He's big shoes to fill.
Oh, same old Nick. Garbage man by day, old steak fixing boys by night.
Buck closed his tailgate as the last of his employees collected their turkey. Brushing his hands against the thighs of his jeans, Buck pulled his gloves off, tucking them inside his thick jacket.
Well, Nicholas, I have to get back to the missing. You keep a close eye on this place for me.
Yes, sir.
They both shared what might be their last salute to one another, an informal salute between comrades, between friends. The salute gave way to a loose hug, pleasantries with an unwanted finality to them. Nicholas knew very little about the workforce outside of Sterling Sanitation. One thing he knew:
change is inevitable. But I'll work here till my body gives out. Then some, for good measure.
Nicholas carried the freezing turkey against his chest. He locked the doors to his truck, heading inside to punch out. He and his turkey walked out of the truck lot in the direction of Mary's. Thanksgiving decorations were all around him. Deep brown turkeys stitched across orange backgrounds hung from eaves. Hay bales dotted yards and store lots alike, some still holding pumpkins for the season. Old pumpkins, smiling through soft wrinkles and misshapen faces, rotted at the end of stoops. Mary's blue door came into sight. Lillian had hung her own festive banners with turkeys and golden crops jumping from muddy, earthy tones. Her door itself was flanked by two glazed bases, sprouting yellowed grain and fake pumpkins. Lillian answered his knock.
Glad to see you, Nicholas. Mary and I were just headed to the grocery store.
Hello, Lillian. It's good to see you without having to get back to work. Though, work does bring me by.
Oh?
Sterling gives us a turkey every year, but I can never eat all of it myself. Usually half of it goes to my dog, Buddy. I'd like to give it to you and Mary this year.
That's very kind. But you have no one to celebrate with?
No, not in a long while.
Oh, you poor thing. You must miss all of the fixings of the day. Perhaps I can make a plate of cookies and some fixings, and Mary can give it to you.
Oh, that would be mighty fine. I'd love to eat a home-cooked meal made by somebody else.
Then it's settled. Thank you, Nicholas.
Thank you, my dear. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Nicholas handed the turkey to Lillian, the cool air of the evening warming the spots of his chest, touched by the frozen bird. He tipped his hat with a warm smile, beginning his journey home. Nicholas's wrinkles lit as he saw Lillian and Mary standing just inside Sterling's locked gates. He absent-mindedly checked his pocket watch, one of his rarer finds in his years driving his rig. Deciding he had plenty of time, he stopped to see them before heading in. They were bundled up in thick, warm jackets, lined with alpaca inside and at the neck. Mary still shivered with the biting cold nipping at her stockinged legs. Her shivers turned to running as Nicholas approached.
Nicholas, we have a surprise for you.
Oh, and what might that be, little Mary?
Well, we can't ever eat our Thanksgiving dinner to ourselves either. We would love for you to have Thanksgiving dinner with us.
I don't want to intrude.
Nicholas, you wouldn't be intruding. You've brought plenty of joy to my sweet Mary here, and I think you've earned at least one homemade dinner.
Nicholas looked from Lillian to Mary and back again, He knelt down to look at Mary.
Well, I don't know. What does Molly think?
I think Molly would miss you a whole bunch. She would never stop crying.
Then I guess it's settled, if Molly declares it so. Thank you, Lillian. I'd love to join you both for dinner.
And we'll have pumpkin pie!
Well, we're off to get that pumpkin pie before it's not there anymore. You really helped us with the turkey this year, Nicholas. Thank you.
My pleasure, ma'am. You be good for your mom now. Okay, Mary?
Of course.
See you soon, Nicholas.
Yes. Happily. Well, it's been a long time since I've had dinner with anyone, let alone Thanksgiving. I'm sure I'll be just fine. Just gotta shake off the rust.
Lillian and Mary smiled and waved to him as they left the lot. Lillian had to pull Mary from the muddier sections of the lot, as she would try and jump into them. Nicholas turned with a smile, head in the clouds for the first time in years. The day and his routines went by in a flash. He spent the next 2 days shaking the rust off. Asking Buddy if the red tie or the green tie looked better, he landed on choosing a red tie. He stood in front of the mirror, wondering where part of him had gone to. His dress pants hung loosely over his hips, sagging down past his waistline. Well, that was no good. He took needle and thread to cinch the waist, not worrying about the baggy pant legs. Thanksgiving was just on the other side of the night. He laid his iron suit and shirt across his freshly polished shoes, coiling his belt atop the pile. Nicholas had trouble sleeping that night with all the excitement of the next day. For once, he was happy to break his routines. His route went by in a blur. His mind was so full to the brim with the day's events to come that he hadn't even set aside time to look for toys. Before he knew it, he was pulling his truck back into the lot, almost forgetting to lock the doors on his way to the time clock. There was none of his usual meandering down empty streets on his way home today. He made a straight line for his place to get ready. Mary must have been waiting by the door. It opened before his feet even hit their drive.
Nicholas!
Good evening, Mary.
Come inside. Mama's in the kitchen. We made so much food.
Nicholas stepped through the door into a small foyer. The beige walls, dotted with pictures of family and Mary's artwork, ran straight from the door and to the right and left. Mary led him forward, the hallway narrowing for a staircase, and through the second doorway on the right. Lillian stood at the counter, sprinkling powdered paprika on a couple dozen deviled eggs. She looked over her shoulder with a smile shone in her eyes. Seeing him carrying his last baking dish, she pointed to an open spot on the counter. Nicholas set his dish of yams down in front of a neatly lined row of cookbooks, spotting some he himself had in his kitchen from Carol. The exposed wood of the cabinets contrasted pleasingly against the warm gray of the walls. Food scattered about over the countertops hid the clean, dull yellow underneath.
Hello, Nicholas. I hope you brought your appetite.
Well, of course. And a couple helping hands. What can I help you with?
Everything is finished. Mary is setting the table just through that doorway. If you could help me carry all this food to the table, that should keep those hands busy.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Several trips from kitchen to dining room. A feast covered the dining table. Lillian's fine dishes sat like islands amongst the spread. Biscuits piled into a cloth-covered bowl. Nicholas's yams, mashed potatoes, and ham. Fit for 3.
Wow. Lillian did not hold back on this dinner. I hope she didn't do this all for me.
Lillian spooned mashed potatoes onto Mary's plate, offering the bowl to Nicholas. She rested it in his outstretched palm. Lillian grabbed the gravy bowl, beginning to pour.
So, Mary tells me you prefer to spend the 4th of July alone.
You don't want to hear an old man draw on, my dear.
Yes, I do.
Their laughter fills the space of the house, inviting ease, tickling at curiosities.
If I may ask, why have you invited an old man for Thanksgiving? And where is your husband?
Lillian's gaze left his, flickering across the dark mantle against the far wall. A handsome man in a crisp uniform smiled back at them. A uniform Nicolas recognized quite well. His thoughts were confirmed upon seeing a folded flag mounted in a wooden case on the wall above the picture. Nicolas met Lillian's darkened eyes.
I'm sorry for your loss. How long has it been?
Just over a year now. Some days are more of a struggle than others. Most days we manage. Some days we cope.
Well, knowing you two, he was a great man. I wore a similar uniform until 1920. I was one of the lucky few to make it back. My friends Johnson, Davids, they are who I spend my Independence Day with.
I'm so sorry, Nicholas. I'm glad you decided to join us for some company. I'm sure your friends and loved ones are looking down on you with smiles and pride.
Thank you, Lillian. Life is full of loss, but we can continue to make new memories. As crushing as it can be, the world will always open a new door if you let it. My Carol taught me that. We would have taught our Molly the same. They would have loved you both.
Why does it open a new door if it shuts the old one?
Life is full of mysteries, little girl. You'll uncover many as you grow. You're already so strong-willed. Your mother seemed to have hit the nose on that one.
Nicholas lightly tapped the side of his nose with his forefinger. He smiled at her as he cleaned the gravy from his plate with a biscuit. He laid his fork and knife down on his plate, sighing, taking in the scene before him. Lillian grabbed a now sleeping Mary's plate. Mary's chin squished against her chest as she slumped into her chair.
Take her, Lillian. I'll start the cleanup.
Thank you kindly.
Nicholas watched as Lillian gently scooped Mary into her arms, almost too big now for her to carry easily. He began stacking their plates on top of one another, beginning the reverse process into the kitchen. He had half the food in the kitchen by the time Lillian came back down.
And I think that's about everything. Thank you, Nicholas, and as always, your company is most appreciated. It's nice being able to have an adult conversation here and there. Mary keeps my ears filled with princesses and, more recently, you. You know, you're practically family now.
Well, thank you, Lillian. That means a lot to me. In my old age and isolation, I'd nearly forgotten how it could feel to sit down with family, a hot meal, warm conversation. But Mary will grow out of me. Who wants an old man around anyhow?
We do.
His chest filled with a warmth that creeped outward, filling his limbs. A joy he had forgotten in his mechanical habits. He helped Lillian finish up with the cleaning, washing dishes, sealing leftovers away, and dishing himself a to-go plate at Lillian's direction. Lillian walked him to the door, filling the hallway with whispered laughter and joyful banter.
Good night, Nicholas. Thank you again.
You're welcome. Good night. Always a pleasure.
He stood tall as he turned to leave, his chest swelled with pride, his features softened with joy. A smile lingered across his face, the entirety of his walk home through the chill autumn air. An early December chill crept underneath Nicholas's blanket, deep into his bones. He slipped out of bed, sitting on the edge, stretching the aches and stiffness from his weary form. Standing, he parted his dusty curtains to be greeted by dull grays washing the morning sky. By the hound to his coffee, Nicholas loaded his faithful pot with the new dark roast grounds Liliane had recommended him. A sweet and bitter tang filled his nostrils as the pot's percolating disturbed the home's quiet chill. 2 scoops of food and a splash of water later, he placed Buddy's bowl back in its spot. Always a man of habit, the bowl's placement over the years had preserved the hardwood's original luster, holding memories of days gone past. He usually heard the slow pad of Buddy's steps by now.
Must be too cold for his old bones. I'll have to go rouse him.
Around his dining table, into his front room, Buddy still lay curled up on his thinning bed in the corner just outside his bedroom door.
Come on, boy. Get up. Breakfast time.
Buddy was choosing to be stubborn this morning. He still didn't stir as Nicholas knelt beside him, placing his palm gently against the scruff of his neck.
Wake up, buddy.
Nicholas eyed his chest. No rise and fall. He gently shook Buddy, slipping his hand under his chin.
Buddy?
Stiff and cold, Nicholas slumped to the cold ground, his eyes never leaving his old friend. Nicholas's eyes watered as he placed the palm of his hands against his face, running them up and back through his hair as he stood. Despite the cold winter nipping at his face, despite the flowing rivulets of ice coursing through his veins, Nicholas felt heat rising in his chest, sweat beating at his brow. The coffee pot's whistle and popping mingled with his alarm, falling on deafened ears as he stared downward. The cacophony of sounds started as muffled beats, matching that of his racing heart. For a long moment, the noise filled his house until it grew to be too much, snapping Nicholas back into his reality. He turned, shutting off his alarm, removing the pot from the stove. He mindlessly opened his back door, walking to his shed to grab his shovel. Today would mark the first day he'd ever been late to work. Today, he would mark a special part of this wild yard for his friend. Dirtied and disheveled, his face covered in dirt was streaked from the tears flowing down it. With his work done, drained of adrenaline and purpose, Nicholas hurried inside to wash as best he could in his sink. He ran through his front door, forgetting his jacket, across his porch, tripping on a loose board, looking back in frustration as he caught himself on one of his porch's support columns. Nicholas sneered at the plank. A moment of regaining himself, and he was off in a rush, onto the sidewalk, down the street. Nicholas arrived at Sterling's sanitation huffing, covered in thick sweat. He watched as the last of the trucks pulled from the lot. There his rig stood, alone, solitary in this packed dirt lot, just as he had been minutes ago in his own yard. Nicholas rushed through the office door to grab his keys, hanging lonely on the rack. He stepped up to the time clock as Junior walked in.
Nicholas, you're late. And look at the state of you. We were about to have Bobby cover your route for the day.
Well, I'm here now, sir. I apologize for being late. No need to cover my route. I can do it.
Nicholas couldn't hold back the shame lodged in his throat, threatening to claw its way out to expose him.
Yes, you can. Take Bobby with you. He can help relieve some of your duties.
Yes, sir.
Nicholas walked out of the office door, keys in hand, to see Bobby already standing by his rig. He quickly unlocked his door, climbing into the cab and leaning over to unlock the door for the young man. They drove from the lot in silence. They began Nicholas's route in silence. Silence sat between them like a thief, siphoning the warmth from Nicholas.
You're awfully quiet today, old man.
It's been a long morning.
From the looks of you, it's been a very long morning.
Nicholas didn't respond. He kept his eyes on the road, his hands on the wheel. He pulled himself out of his dour mood as he saw the street sign reading North Street. If anything could lift his spirits today, it would be Mary's smile. He couldn't see Mary's stand, but they were still a few stops away, and the cold was biting today. She could be set up closer to the house. He let Bobby grab the bins from the first few stops. Finally, at her house, he stepped out to see no Mary, no table at the end of the driveway, no pitcher, no cups, no Molly. Instead stood a single silver bin, echoing the loneliness weighing on his heart. The scrape of metal against asphalt thundered in his eardrums, doing nothing to dull the pain in his mind. He pulled the lid from the bin, and struggling to stop himself as he swung it onto the hopper, he noticed it. Atop so much junk sat Molly. Her wooden arm and head had been broken and tossed. Yet Nicholas knew she was not beyond repair. Nicholas took a quick glance around the side of the bin and quickly stuffed Molly into his overalls. He dumped the bin and placed it against the curb. He climbed into the cab, shifting the Molly lump to his left, so as to hide it from Bobby.
You're getting slow, old man. What took you so long?
This morning's rough start and my old age are catching up to me.
Uh-huh. How about you let me drive now, old man?
We can switch at the next stop.
They both stepped out to grab the bins. As Nicholas lifted his bin, he noticed Bobby looking at him. No, not at him, at his stomach. He looked down to see one of Molly's wooden hands sticking from between the buttons on his overalls. He dropped the bin halfway into the hopper, quickly stuffing the doll back in.
That's nothing. Just something I had with me.
The young man said nothing, leaving Nicholas to finish his bin while stepping up into the driver's seat. Nicholas haphazardly dropped the bin into its place, climbing in after him. His face was flushed, but he spoke no further about what Bobby had seen. They finished their route with Bobby behind the wheel. Tension began to ease as they pulled through the gates and into their lot.
Head on in. I'll park the truck.
Bobby climbed out of the cab, heading toward the office. Nicholas pulled his rig into his spot. The day had him flustered. He sat in silence, a silence of peace in contrast to the tension hanging thick in the air after Mary's house. After a moment of contemplating his next moves, he locked up and headed into the office. As he passed Bobby, he thought he saw a hint of the disgust when they had first worked together, though this time it had subtle mixes of a smirk upon his lips. Buck Jr. met him at the door.
Nicholas, when you're finished, come see me in my office.
Yes, sir.
Nicholas performed his after-work routine with a malaise, dreading what he was to find in Junior's office. The paneled walls he had seen for years seemed to close in on him. The hallway, but a few seconds' walk from end to end, seemed to have elongated. Junior's office door seemed to be perpetually out of reach. This felt like a forced march, salting the wounds of the day. Nicholas hesitantly rapped his knuckles against the threshold of the door.
Come in.
You wanted to...
Shut the door and sit down.
A long pause punctuated Buck's cold command, his shuffling of papers more thunderous than any truck in the lot. He knocked the stack of papers against the surface of his desk, straightening them into a neat pile that he placed to the side. He gently placed his glasses atop the stack, gathering himself before looking up at Nicholas.
You've been warned, Nicholas. I'm still getting complaints about you rummaging through our customers' garbage.
Well, I've been careful not to dig through anything, sir.
Nicholas,
What harm does it do?
It harms the company's image.
I fix broken toys and give them to those without. that should not harm the company's image.
Nicholas, it is a good thing you're doing, and it keeps you busy in your age. But what's not good for the company must be cut.
Buck's eyes lowered to the lump within Nicholas's overalls. He knew.
What if I show him? What if he sees what I do?
Nicholas carefully slipped Molly from his overalls, laying the pieces by her side.
Sir, this is what I pulled out of the bins. This doll belongs to a little girl who loves her. She wouldn't part with her if she wasn't broken. I could fix this and bring a smile to that girl's face. That is what I do with all of these toys. It is only to help.
I'm sorry, Nicholas. Today will be your last day. Thank you for your service and for your friendship to my father. You've done fine work, but it's just time to move on.
I won't stop, sir. Job or no job.
Goodbye, Nicholas. Take care and have a Merry Christmas.
Nicholas sat, back resting against the lip of the hopper of his rig, one last time. He lay his head against the cold metal, watching the gray sky swirl with the shifting of the wind. In a single day, no, less than a day, his life had turned upside down. No job, no dog, no Mary. He wasn't much of a drinker, but a bottle looked mighty fine to end this horrific day. He decided. He made his way out of Sterling's lot, heading in the direction of the local grocery store. Walking through the glass doors adorned with fake snow murals and red ribbons tied around holly, Nicholas came upon a man in a suit. The red velvet shimmered in the bright lights, lined with snow-white fur. The bell ringing Santa Claus held a red kettle in one hand, ringing a bell with the other.
Is it my imagination? Or is he ringing sleigh bells?
Hello, good sir. Spare some change for the kids?
Nicholas rummaged through his pockets for a few coins.
Sure. Salvation Army?
Nicholas looked up to the man's sly but warm smile.
Something like that.
Jolly, boisterous laughter emanated from deep within the man's plump center. Nicholas dropped his coins into the kettle. The metal rang with a hollowness Nicholas felt. He returned the man's rosy grin.
Many have passed me, but you're the first one to stop. Merry Christmas.
Yes. Merry Christmas.
Nicholas looked from the man to the doors and turned to leave. He turned to go home, to go back to Buddy, back to his work table, back to Molly. He couldn't drink tonight. He had work to do. It was the first time in decades that Nicholas had driven up to Sterling Sanitation out of his work overalls. It was almost a second skin by now, and he felt naked without them. The path to the front door was flanked by snow on either side, making miniature banks along the cement. Inside was warm, the glow of a trimmed fur in the corner of the front office. Nicholas looked over to the boss's office, seeing Buck Jr. through the glass. Jr. looked over from his desk, 3 stacks of paper in front of him. Buck waved Nicholas to come in.
Here for your severance check, Nicholas?
Jr. opened a drawer on the side of his desk and pulled out an envelope.
It was a real pleasure to work with you. I do not enjoy having to part ways with you, Nicholas.
Nicholas didn't reply, taking the envelope with one hand and offering Buck a box wrapped in blue paper and a silver ribbon.
What is this?
Like I said, job or no job. This is a remembrance, a symbol of progress. He won't follow you, but he will stand by your side as you take this company into the future. Merry Christmas, sir.
Nicholas set the blue-wrapped package on the desk, about-faced, and marched out of the office. Nicholas moved with a vigor he had not felt in decades. He marched away from sterling sanitation, as tall and proud as the soldier in that box, wrapped in blue paper. The clouds took on the golden hue of the sun's light as he made his way to his second destination. The streets and sidewalks had been half cleared. Soft white snow piled on the sides of the driveways. He felt fleeting disappointment to see Lillian was not home. He shook the feeling from his body as one would a tree bough to clear it of snow. He looked to the empty house next door, standing silent, looking back at him. He thought he saw faint shimmers of gold coalescing its walls, appearing and disappearing throughout the overgrown grass.
A glow in the window?
No, he wouldn't let the house taint the joy of the day. He shrugged it off, explaining it away with the glow of the morning light.
Molly's ready. I'll come back this evening.
The air had only gotten colder on this dark Christmas Eve. Goosebumps gathered at his exposed flesh, hairs prickling on his hands. He scratched at the scruff he had let grow on his face since that fateful day weeks back. He hadn't seen his beard for years, now springing in a stark white, fitting for the season. One more gift for the year. He cocked his head to the side, listening as the faint ring of sleigh bells danced in the air. The same golden shimmer of the morning sparkled through the air, catching his eye once again, this time accompanied by a swath of red. Just inside the wooden fence of the vacant house sat a large sack. Nicolas closed the distance. The red velvet seemed to have an almost imperceptible glow to it. He pulled the thick, ancient-looking paper from atop it, undoing the silver rope tying it closed, and peered inside. Startled, Nicolas took a quick step back, then leaned in again. Against the silver silk lining lay the toys he had gathered and fixed this year. Reluctantly, he pulled his gaze from the mysterious contents. He flipped the old paper over to read, embossed in gold leaf. There's always another door. Golden sprites swirled around him in an unseen wind, up and over his shoulders, around his waist, twirling his legs back to his feet. The glow leapt from him, spiraling toward the deep green of the house's front door. In wonderment, he ogled as the door swung open in a golden burst, sleigh bells once again filling his ears. Without his permission, his feet began to move him forward. An unseen force gently pushed him up the walkway. A warm glow curled around the edges, beckoning to his soul. A light nudge awoke her. Mary slowly sat up in her bed. She saw a golden glimmer at her window, lingering around a small box, sitting next to a plate of cookies she had begged her mother to set there, in chance of seeing Santa Claus. She rubbed the sleep from her eyes as she slipped from her bed. The glimmer had disappeared, but the box remained. She drowsily walked to her dresser, pulling the box down to her. As she did, she noticed only crumbs were left on the plate. Santa had been here. The thought instilled a renewed vigor within her. She tore into the metallic blue wrap, ripping the shiny silver ribbons off with it. She opened the box, dropping the lid when she saw what was inside. Nestled in a bed of thin, white wrapping tissue lay Molly, decked in her azure blue dress. With movement quickened by an unmatched joy, she pulled Molly into her tight hug. She looked out of the window into the black sky and whispered,
Thank you, Santa.
That was Finding Molly. We at AmPam Productions would like to thank our friends at MacLeod for their support. We would also like to thank all of our listeners, including you. Thank you and Merry Christmas. Christmas.